Do you agree that, it's time that we all wake up and take responsibility, even for our ancestors that did not know any better?
Been waiting patiently to have this kind of conversation. Well, it's Wake Up with KC, and today I have a very inspiring guest today. And Shanna Toft is a more than just a mom. She is a been modeling, took theater, choir, dance, and continues to pursue her passion and what she loves doing. And she joins us today. Shanna, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for
Wow.
having me.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. Now, when did you discover like this is what you wanted to do?
I always had some kind of performing bug from the time I was like 2 years old. So, by the time I could walk and talk, I was like putting on little shows and everything, just as a toddler, even. And my parents really didn't want me to be any kind of an actor, but they humored me and let me do theater in school. They certainly did not want me choosing it as a career. So I did what they wanted me to do, and I went to college and got a few business degrees. And I just, I'm really good at that stuff, but it's not what truly makes me happy. So um, when I told my dad I was quitting my job, he was like, "Excuse me, you're doing what? You're what? Huh?" And so every once in a while he checks in with me to make sure bills are paid. And I'm like, "Yep, they sure are. They sure are, because I'm doing what I love and getting paid to play." So, it's always been there. Always been there.
And would it be fair to say because your parents, upbringing and their mindset and I guess the programming that they had was no, that's not, you're going to be struggling. You're going to be like, all those others, that were struggling to become famous or, an actor kind of thing. Is that part of the reason why they did not want you to go into it?
I think so. And they're of the camp that you've got to like have an in already, which you do in some areas. It's connections are really super super important, but that's not what truly makes or breaks you. You still have to have the training and the talent and all that good stuff too. You can't just be like, oh hey, my daddy is so and so, and you might get a thing here or there, but you're not going to be continuously doing things, because you've got to have the talent too. But I don't know. I feel like they really wanted me to focus on academics, which I did. And they didn't complete college, and they really really wanted me to complete college, which I did multiple times. Um, and I wasn't satisfied with working in an office. I'm really really good at it, but I don't want to be behind a computer screen all day.
It's not fulfilling. It's not, it's like deep down inside you had this intuitive feeling like that acting and being in roles and playing this part, that's what sparks you up.
Absolutely. Yep.
And since you began this journey, what are the things that you could share with us that were some of the challenges and how did you overcome them?
Well, you know, I got to do some runway modeling when I was a teenager. I was an adult teenager, 19 years old. I got to finally say, "Hey, I'm going to go do this." And then I did some work for Mattel as a live Barbie doll, and then I wound up taking a pretty long break from any kind of acting or modeling or anything, because I met my now ex-husband, and I moved clear across the country and had 5 children, and did not do any acting or modeling or anything else for a long time. So I finally got to go back into it 4.5 years ago. I got back into it, and that was because a friend of mine gave me a firm but gentle push to get back into it, and she saw a casting notice, and she's like, "Girlfriend, you love acting so much, and you really, really need to go for this." And so I did, and I got in, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to find a way to do this." But and my kids at that time were older and everything also, and so I didn't have to worry about trying to find a babysitter, or because I am also a single parent of 5, and
Wow.
yeah, so we had some challenges. Like I was with my ex-husband for 11 years. I've now been divorced 11 years. Got back into acting 4.5 years ago, and so it's just been a bit of a wild ride, just with all of that. So I did have quite the long break in between, but through all of that, I just started paying more attention to casting notices, and then I got a role. I got a lead role in a Christmas show for one of the cities in DFW, and I had a co-star in that Christmas show, and he asked me, "Have you heard of Glenn Morshower?" I was like, "Well, yes, of course I have. Yeah, he's been in almost everything I've watched my entire life." And he was on 24 for 7 years as Agent Aaron Pierce. He's currently on The Resident, and he'll be in the final season of Ozark, which they're filming right now. So, yeah, you have to be invited to his class, and I was invited by my co-star of that show to audit a class and see if I liked it, and I fell in love with the class. So now I've had a celebrity, a working celebrity acting coach for 2.5 years, and I've grown so much in that time. And he could tell that I grew up with a theater background, and he told me that he would teach me how to size it down for the camera, because his is an on-camera class. We do film and television. So like I do a whole lot of commercials these days. I'll do things for film and television. There's some stuff I can talk about, some stuff I can't yet because of non-disclosure agreements. But it's been a really, really exciting 4.5 years, and there's been so much upward growth. And I've seen very, very little on the downside of it, like as far as dry spells go and that sort of thing.
Well, let me ask you something, Shauna. Like with the pandemic and everything, and with the coronavirus, how did you continue pursuing what you love doing and reinvent yourself to be able to continue?
Well, part of it is, our acting class used to meet in person before the pandemic, and now we've gone to the Zoom format, which has been so much better, actually, as far as film and television training goes, because now we actually do have to size it down for the screen while we're even in class. And it's perfect because it's helping us so much with our self tapes, because we're not looking at a scene partner when we're in class, and you don't look at a scene partner when you're doing your self tapes or anything like that. So I mean, as far as bookings go, it has been a tremendous help, and I am so grateful for that because I love self tapes. I mean, the in person auditions were great too, but I love that we have the ability to send in a tape for something across the country or across the state. I used to drive 3 hours literally for a 5 minute audition, and then 3 hours back home. And now I don't have to do that.
So I
And
think it's a blessing then that
yes,
I always say that there's, even during the pandemic, was an opportunity for people to take a really good look at their life,
mhm,
and I'm a problem solver. So it's like I look at an opportunity as a blessing in disguise. And when you're going through it, doesn't might seem that way, but that's a perfect example of how this was a blessing because it just advanced your career, as
absolutely,
actor. I get it confused.
absolutely.
Actor I thought was more on the masculine side, and actress was a female.
I call myself an actor, or an actress, just whatever. It's fine. It doesn't bother me either way, but it's not. I'm not easily triggered by words, so
I just want to make sure, like, hey, am I saying it right?
for me, either way is fine.
Yeah. And you know, you did modeling. You Now in your acting class, do you do dancing too, singing? Do you do like many of those other aspects in order to get better casting calls?
We actually do not. What we do in the acting class is we choose our own scenes. Or sometimes one of the scene partners will write an original scene. And so we decide what we're going to do. As far as, singing and dancing and all that other stuff, if we choose to continue with that, then there's training elsewhere or in practice elsewhere. So no, that's not part of the acting class. But if there are roles that require it, I do have the qualifications to fulfill such things.
So if somebody is, I guess like got the talent and it truly seems like a natural when it comes to acting, because I've been, in part of it in television and radio, and I actually helped assist in a featured film as an assistant director, assistant producer. And it was a kid family friendly. And there was a couple of these kids that I was like, oh my gosh, they're just naturals. Their emotions that, they take their script and add the emotion, the body language, all of that. I was like, wow, I wonder if you've taken any classes or is this just you? You know? So, what would you tell or share, out of wisdom and knowledge and experience being in the industry to these younger generations that really love and enjoy, and they want to pursue this? What would you tell them?
I would say, because my kids are all actors also, and so they share representation with me, but I had to get it first. So if you don't already have representation, if you don't have a parent who already has representation and can present you as well, definitely make sure that you are in some kind of training that you can back up, because agencies uh, do want to see you training on a regular basis. Unless you're booking on a regular basis, well, they still like to see you training on a regular basis as much as possible. I mean, I do miss class quite a bit because I'm booked, and that's fabulous. We want to miss class for bookings, but we also want to continue to get the training when we're not booked on something, because things change in the industry, and you still need to have that that inside scoop and the techniques, and stay on top of what the industry standards are too. So I would say try to find an acting coach who is still active in the industry also, that has been that's I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying you can't get really good training from someone who is not currently in the industry, but if you're going to be in film and television, I think it's a really, really great idea to find somebody who is currently doing that. If you're doing theater, try to find somebody who is currently doing that. And just make sure that your acting coach is a really good fit too, because there are so many different styles of teaching, and just try to audit a class before making a decision on what you want to sign up for too. So just make sure it's the right fit, depending
Right.
on what your goals are.
To me, it would be like personalities, energy, the vibes that you
Mhm.
get. So that would be very beneficial.
Absolutely.
And then, it's playing a role, playing a part, in any like TV, film, movie. You get the script before. How do you prepare yourself before you get in front of that camera and they say action?
Well, it's so much different in film and television than it is in theater. If I'm doing something for theater, I memorize the script front to back, top to bottom, because it's going to be in order always. But film and television is completely different. So I don't bother memorizing the entire script. There's no point, because you're always going to shoot it out of order. So when I get the script, I will read through the entire script so that I know the storyline. I know what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But I actually wait until I know what scenes we're going to do before I start memorizing that part of the script. Because, plus you're going to change something on the day. The script is going to change somewhere on the day. So, you've got to be flexible with film and television too.
Yeah, just adapt, adjust, and be flexible.
Absolutely.
And know that there might be some, rearranging, mess ups, but do your very best regardless.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Now, what changes have you seen, being in acting in the industry that seems like it's gotten better? Or is there still some things that, you feel like could change for the better?
Well, I mean, I really, there have been some changes, but I don't really see anything too negative about those changes. There are some productions that are requiring proof of the COVID vaccination, and I think that's a personal choice if you want to do that. But and we test every single day when we're on set. The productions that I work with, we test every single day on the production, and twice before we ever set foot on set for the week. So like I have to go test tomorrow, and I'm not even on set until Tuesday. Today is Thursday, and so I'll test Friday and Monday to be on set on Tuesday, and then I'll test again on Tuesday at least once, and they may wind up doing a rapid test on me, which sometimes they do, because we do the PCR test just to make sure that that's negative for everybody. And then if we're working in really close quarters, then they'll also do a rapid test just to make double sure that we're good for that day. So, I don't have a problem with the testing. Like, I always test negative. I really don't care. But, I wish the masks would go away in general. But, it really hasn't been a hindrance, in my opinion, with the changes that we've had to make.
Wow. Well, yeah, with the mask, I can see how difficult that would be to film something while wearing a mask, unless
Well,
you're, in a hospital doing a scene and you have to, wear a mask, surgical mask. Anyway.
right. Well, we wear them between takes, but I think about like makeup and everything and the sweating. So like what I'm currently working on, we're notorious for filming in opposite seasons because that's just the way it works out a lot of the time. And so it's this episode will air later, but it's currently summer, the hottest part of summer. And what I'm currently working on, I'm very dirty, and I'm in Russian tundra clothing for the
Ooh.
winter. So, that all sweats off and everything. And then the masks, make it double, double heat in there. So, that's been a bit of a challenge, with keeping makeup on and that sort of thing. But, it's nothing too horrible, in my opinion.
No. So what do you like when you're not, being booked and you're not doing training? What else is it that you do to, keep yourself productive?
Well, I am a workaholic. I will admit that. If I have downtime, I actually really feel lazy. I will schedule activities on vacation. So, yeah, I'm that person. But anyway, when I'm not filming, I am I'm doing independent contractor work as a merchandiser. I do store remodel reset merchandising.
Oh, wow.
So I'll subcontract with a big reset team to do the inside the store resets for the shelves. And sometimes like we'll move the shelves around the store, like we'll reposition the whole aisle or whatever and reset it and that sort of stuff. It just depends on what the job is. But yeah, that's what I do to fill in my downtime, just because I don't know, I like to work. But when I'm not filming, I also work as an MC. And I still do modeling from time to time. It's more lifestyle shoots these days for print or web use. And I do direct from time to time. I've got an episode of a series on Amazon Prime that I cast and directed. And I have people ask me to direct on occasion, but for the most part, I'm in front of the camera.
Which do you like better, to direct or be in front of the camera?
I love being in front of the camera, but it's fun when you have a really great cast. It's also fun to be behind the camera. So, but I do prefer to be in front of it.
You don't want to be the boss and tell them what to do?
Really, no. I've been a PA. I've been an AD. I've been first AC. I've done a lot of the crew work too. I do sound. All the crew stuff is self-taught, out of necessity, actually. Yeah, that is another thing that has been shaping as during the pandemic, because like I've had to become the entire crew. Like I have a full a full studio set up in my house. And so like I've had to teach myself about, lighting and sound and, um, all the different camera angles and things like that too. And I've had to get the equipment. It's very expensive. Um, but I mean, if you're doing this as a career, it's really, really good for an actor to know these things anyway, because then you have such a greater appreciation for your crew, and it makes you a better actor because you know what all it takes on the other side as well.
So I was just you just like beat me to the question because, when I got into TV and radio, I went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting. And I had to learn the lighting, I learned both aspects of radio and TV, what it takes. It's a lot of work.
It is. And I tell you, when I edited the first time, and just for class, because one really cool thing about the Zoom is, we get recordings of our sides and then we can knit them together to make the actual scene. And we post that on our private class page for everybody else in the class to see. But I swear, because I'm self-taught with the editing too, and the first time I edited a 3-minute scene, it took me an hour and a half.
Yes.
For a 2-person scene. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have such a greater appreciation for editors too. And now I'm much faster, but I'm just like, holy cow. Wow.
Yep. I used to do it, doing music videos and, infomercials for clients. You spend 2, maybe 3 hours just filming because you got to do pre-production, then you got production, then the post-production, and then constantly cutting out, making changes because the customer wants, oh, can you just add this? Or no, I don't like that. Can you take that out? I had to learn three edits that you get to revise your video. After that, it's done.
Right. Oh man.
Then they want then they get so caught up in how they look, what they're saying, da 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 da. I'm like, no, just let everything flow naturally. And the less is best.
Right. Well, and then like if you've got people mic'd up and stuff, you've got all those different tracks and trying to match up the sound with their mouths. It's just like, oh, that's not easy. It's not easy at all.
And with technology today, a lot of things keep changing. So you're constantly having to educate yourself.
Right.
Because the technology keeps changing.
Right.
It's like you have a whole setup for just mics that is Bluetooth and wired to the camera. And you got to do constant mic checks and whatnot. Oh my gosh. And if you don't have that mic on and you go record, I've seen that happen.
And then your heart sinks when you realize, oh no.
Yes.
And that was such great emotion in the scene, in the take. Oh no.
Battery dies and you don't even know it yet.
Yes. Oh,
that scene. And that was the best scene. And you're like, the battery died. Oh my God, we do this. Oh my God, yes, I remember those days. Oh my gosh. But yes, and it's supposed to simplify things, but at the beginning, when you're trying to learn all of it, it doesn't seem so simple, does it?
It's like drinking from a fire hose, It really is.
Oh my gosh. So you have some upcoming projects that you're working on?
I do. One of them, everybody in the area knows what's filming right now because it's been in the papers. So I guess maybe I'm allowed to say, because it's been in the papers, that we're working on 1883 Yellowstone, which is the prequel to the Yellowstone series. So that'll be available on Paramount Plus. And so I'm a Russian immigrant in that. And that's all I think I'm allowed to say on that one.
That's totally understandable.
That's going through December.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes,
Best
thank
of
you,
best
thank you.
for you for that one. Um, do you have anything else that you're going to be doing?
Oh yes, yes. Starting in December, I was just told yesterday that I am, and see, here it is, September right now, and this will air later. But I was optioned for a new series that is going to start filming in December, and it has a 24 million dollar budget and is expected to go for 3 seasons. So kind of a big deal.
I say,
Yeah, kind of a big
congrats.
deal. But the producer reached out to me directly, and he wants me to be one of the main character's daughters. So it is a significant role in the series. And I'm optioned right now. So that means that, he's just making sure that I'm going to be available for all of the filming dates, and that I will be available for the other seasons as well. So like I'm he's first option with everything, and he's got to put the rest of the family together. So once that happens, then there can be official bookings, and then we can get started.
Oh, we just lost her. Oh my gosh, this was an interesting conversation. What happened? Well, that was short. I apologize for that. She just like disappeared like magic. Oh, wait, she's back. Hello.
Hi there. Sorry about that. My stuff is crazy.
Oh, you just did a magic trick for us. That's all.
Okay. Well, I cannot adjust the camera back to where it was. So
That's
I'm
okay.
so sorry. I live in a weird part of town that just does that with the whatever, and I don't know.
It's okay. We got you. You're back like magic. It's you got the angle. Are you frozen?
No, I can't change the angle.
Well, that's
Um,
okay. Just use what you got there.
Here, let me stop the cam and put it back on for just a second. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see if I can. Oh, you know what? I think it. Doggone it! It's using my computer camera now.
Ah,
Boo. Okay.
there you go.
Well,
Well, that was interesting, needless to say. But hey, this is part of what it's like being in the industry.
yes.
Shit happens.
Technical
You
difficulties.
gotta go with it.
Yep. Just go with it. Just go with it.
So your kids are in acting,
They are. Yes.
and I guess they love what you're doing, and I guess it does. You know, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So you inspired them, you know, to do what they love, and you know, like you said earlier, you know, if you're going to be an actor, learn all aspects, you know, the lighting, you know, camera, you know, all the gear, the audio, all of that to get a better understanding of what it takes. Because when you go to the movies or you see something on TV, everything was prepared to get the master shot or to so you can see the masterpiece of the end. But some movies, some series, they take a year, maybe two. With this pandemic, it's even taking longer. But we get to see for entertainment and some distractions of watching the final, the masterpiece. Would you agree?
Most definitely, especially if there were special effects too, because like when we worked on 12 Mighty Orphans, there were some green screen things also. Um, you know, in the movie they show a real football stadium. We did not film that in a real football stadium. We filmed it out in a field. You know, we sure did. We filmed it out in a field with just a few bleachers and green screens and all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of behind the scenes that the regular viewer doesn't know about, and my kids and I, we definitely watch everything differently than most people because we know what goes on to make that happen. And it's like, you know, my two oldest kids and I worked on Cruel Summer, which is on Freeform and Hulu. We worked on that for 2.5 months, and it's like I know where there are editing mistakes in there.
Yes.
I know because I know where I was in those scenes, and I know I know where there are editing mistakes. Like there's one episode where I am on the ground and up in the air. So I'm simultaneously down on the ground in the daytime, and then I'm magically up in the air at nighttime for the it's crazy. It's crazy. Just absolutely crazy. But yeah, there are a few things I'm just like, I know. So it's funny watching the stuff that I've worked on, especially on Amazon and Hulu and stuff. I'm like, oh, I was right there. I was right there. I was right. Oh, they and then like with the behind the scenes stuff. Oh, that person had to do that scene over and over and over because the lines weren't memorized. Blah blah blah. Or this person tripped over here, and it's cool. It's really really cool. Just getting to watch stuff back that I've worked on, but stuff that I haven't worked on. I'm just like, man, I know what kind of effort it takes to make that happen too, and so it changes the way that you watch things.
Oh yeah, like being a producer myself and an editor, and now looking at when I watch movies. Do you ever see like they left a water bottle, like you know it wasn't there, but then again you see it again, like because they changed the screen.
Yeah.
You see the water bottle, and then like with Pretty Woman, I remember there. I think it was about when they were at the restaurant, Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, and she had that thing that popped out and that got whatever waiter, whatever caught it. No problem. That happens all the time. When the waiter came, they all had their like I guess to clean their palate. I thought it was sherbet or something, but it wasn't. It was they cleaned their palate after. 1 minute's there. Now the waiter didn't go and grab it, but then when they went back to talk to it was Richard Gere, I think, or the old man, it was not there. I'm like, oh, they messed up. That should have stayed there.
Yes.
Watching and catching things. It's funny.
Well, even my 13-year-old daughter and I were watching 12 Mighty Orphans because she and I are both in it, and she was noticing Luke Wilson. In some of the scenes, he would have his glasses on, and then they'd be gone, and then they'd be back on. When the camera would go back to him, and it didn't show him taking them off or anything. And she's like, "Oh, they made an editing mistake." It's so funny, so funny. Even my kid is just like, "Hey." So,
but that's the joy. That's the fun part, even though it's
right.
like pretty obvious, But I think when you can really catch on, because there used to be somebody logging, every scene where, and then now, like when the feature film that I was helping in, I was taking photos.
Right.
to make sure everything was where it needed to be, especially, there was some bicycles involved, and I had to make sure I took every angle to make sure that if we had to go back and do that scene again, they were positioned exactly the way they were in the original.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that takes a lot of work. And now with cameras, it makes it a little bit easier. But before, you had to write everything down, and oh my God. So we have evolved in the industry to some degree, I would say, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And it's so much nicer with the pictures. And when we do film in opposite seasons, at least we can have areas to cool us off and areas to heat us up, when necessary. So it's not as brutal as it could be, but it is still pretty brutal out there too.
Well, the thing about it is why don't you set up the movie and the scene? If it's a wintry fall, wait until winter and fall to start filming.
Well, when you're filming in metropolitan areas, it's not so easy to do that. So they try to film in the opposite seasons where businesses aren't being used as much. So like when we did Cruel Summer, we filmed the carnival. We actually filmed at a carnival, and we don't have carnivals going in the wintertime because it is too cold. And so we were out there at the carnival in our shorts and t-shirts in February.
Wow.
and not looking cold. And so like what we're filming now, we're at the stockyards, and I guess it's not as busy in the summer because it's hot. And so we're filming all the winter stuff now.
Wow.
So yeah, we're out there sweating to death. But it was also really, really hard times, and it works with the scenes. So yeah, this is going to be a particularly brutal week that we're filming coming up, and I'll be out there at least 3 days. So I'm mentally preparing myself for that too.
Yeah, kudos. I wish you the best of success on that. And
Thank you.
hopefully there's a trailer that has really cold AC for you.
Oh yes, it's called a lunchbox.
Sorry.
It is. It's called a lunchbox, and we do have AC blasting in there, so that's nice. Very nice.
Good. And you get to come to a nice, comfy bed with AC later.
Yes, yes, and the AC in my car is amazing. So
Yeah, I love AC now. It's like, because I'm in Florida, so the humidity is like,
yeah, like Texas too. Yep.
So I lived in Texas, and I moved to Texas, stayed there for a year. My daughter blessed me with my second granddaughter. The next week, Harvey hit. So that was an interesting experience.
I'll bet.
I've just never seen highways flooded before. And I was like, wow, this doesn't happen in Florida.
Wow.
So they lost everything. So we've managed, and I came back to Florida because I had another daughter here. So I stayed. I missed my Florida. I missed the ocean.
I grew up going to the ocean in Corpus. I was born there and raised in Austin, and then we came up to DFW when my dad's job moved him up here, and I went to school in DFW and then moved away and came back to DFW. So I've never actually experienced a hurricane.
Oh wow! Well,
lots of tornadoes, but no hurricane.
Well, you might one day play a role in a movie or a series that has to do with a hurricane. So
that's true.
Study about those.
Absolutely.
Well, Shanna, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed this conversation with you, and I love talking about movies and and you're just a delight. And I wish you the best of success in your upcoming projects, and I look forward to seeing them.
Thank you.
Uh, let me know so I can let everybody else know. Hey, Shauna's coming out. The premiere. So I would love
Absolutely.
to help you.
We are supposed to have our red carpet for Texas Kill City in October. And that's a film that we shot over the summer. And I did 3 feature films in the month of July that will be coming out soon. So yeah, I'll keep everybody as posted as I can. Just non-disclosure just keeps us from talking about too much.
I know those disclosures. They're such.
Yeah, yeah, but there's a lot in pre-production right now, and so my 2022 will be full. Actually, you know what? My best friend texted me last night, and she was watching the movie. She's like, why am I watching a movie and seeing you on my screen? And I was like, oh, which one? And she's like, 12 Mighty Orphans. I said, because you are seeing me on your screen. So there's gonna be
that when that happened, you don't say nothing, but then they're like, "What is she doing on TV?"
exactly. It's so funny, and that has started this year. Like somebody will randomly see me and tag me, like get a screenshot of it and tag me on social media. And so there's going to be more of that in 2022 because I've got quite a bit coming out in 2022. So it's just funny. It is funny.
Good for you, Shanna. Thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, there you go. A talented, inspiring actor that just loves doing what she loves doing, and she's making it work. And I hope this was insightful for you younger ones that would love to do this, that has a heart for it. I hope you can learn something from what she said. And you never know who I'm going to get on this show. So stay tuned.
Do you agree that, it's time that we all wake up and take responsibility, even for our ancestors that did not know any better?
Been waiting patiently to have this kind of conversation.